Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us for How Movement and Migration Have Shaped Our World at the National Education Summit. Gabriella Kahn with the Smithsonian's Office of the Undersecretary for Education, and I'm so glad to welcome all of you to this session today. From ancient times to today's globalized world, people have been on the move. Whether it's for work, love, or adventure, migration is part of what makes us human. But migration is often politicized and problematized. What if we looked at it as a unifying force? In this session, through museum resources, history, and art, we'll explore the idea of home and how moving and migrating have shaped our world. I'm so pleased to introduce your speaker, Cher Anderson Petty. She's a teacher leader with 20 plus years of experience developing learning communities, facilitating professional development, and writing curriculum. In K through 12 education, she's taught AP and IB courses, English and humanities, for 7th through 12th grades. In teacher education, she's taught professional development, centering anti-racism, Harvard Project Zero ideas, and museum resources. She also works with the Washington International School's Professional Development Collaborative. Please help me welcome Cher.
Hi, everybody. So excited to be here. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Gabby. Thanks so much. Thank you, Ashley Naranjo, and the entire Smithsonian Education team for inviting me. It's such an honor to be able to present at the 2023 Smithsonian National Education Summit alongside such innovative and reflective educators. So thank you so much for introducing me and for inviting me. Before I begin, however, if you would in the chat, let us know where you're joining us from. So if you could just type in the chat, where are you? Where are you joining us from? Take a moment for you to type that in. And feel free to introduce yourselves if you like. Welcome, Denver. Hey there. I taught at the Odyssey School a long time ago. So, hey, Delaware, welcome, welcome. LA and Florida, welcome. Thank you. Thank you, California. Hey, Phoenix. Try to stay cool, Phoenix. Hey, New York. Hey, Maryland. Where in Maryland? Hey, DC, Virginia, Arizona. Welcome, everyone. We're so happy to. Oh, Boston. Hey. North Dakota. Hey, I love it. We're everywhere. New Jersey. Detroit. Good job. Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for letting us know where you're joining us from. I'm so happy to have you with us today. First, let me introduce myself. You had a little bit of my intro. I am presently a facilitator with the Professional Development Collaborative through Washington International School's Professional Development Collaborative. And I'm a partner with DCPZ. It's DC Project Zero. And I've been at this now for over 20 years. I know I started when I was 2. And I'm just really excited about this learning and about this thinking and learning en route to understanding. So before I begin, I have to share the rationale for this exploration. I started this particular school year from this lesson at a deficit because I had reconstructive foot surgery and I missed most of semester 1. By the time semester 2 rolled around, my students and I were really sinking fast. This was about 21, 22. And I expressed some of my frustrations to my thought partners in the Professional Development Collaborative, as well as in DC Project Zero, AKA DCPZ. And they really reminded me, they kind of allayed some of my concerns and reminded me that we had at that point been building a plane while in flight because we were ending year 3 of teaching during a pandemic. We all agreed that we ourselves were not really okay and that our kids were, well, kind of not okay as well. And we committed in that particular conversation to each be kinder and gentler with each other and with ourselves, and sort of block out the noisy shouts about learning loss and get ourselves back to planning for big understandings, life worthy learning, and social emotional well being. So while some of my thought partners from Washington International School's Professional Development Collaborative and DCPZ and I put our heads together to plan for a collaborative learning experience for the professionals that we're going to work with in our summer institute, it occurred to me that what we were working on was actually something that I could use right away with my students. So planning with my DCPZ thought partners was exactly what I needed to get back in the flow of life worthy teaching and learning, that my students and I could really kind of put our hearts into. If you would, in the chat, would you do me a favor and shout out your favorite professional learning community or a specific thought partner? Just give them a shout out. So if you would type that in the chat, your favorite professional learning community or thought partners. Because we know that these explorations do not just happen in isolation, and that thinking and learning is a team sport. Museums, absolutely. Professional associations, NAEA. Oh, someone said me. Hey, thank you. WISIT, Washington International School Summer Institute for Teachers. Yes, absolutely. The online version as well as the live version. Your English department, NCSS, AAM, University of Maryland. So a lot of professional organizations. Excellent. Excellent. And if you have any specific thought partners in mind, please feel free to shout them out. Oh, I love it. Some of you are listing your professional learning community, your buddies. I love it so much. That's awesome. Yay, Lori. I love it. Shannon, Charlotte, Jen, Carrie Redding. Hey. You said, oh, one person added that their English department colleagues rock. Well, all right, Tammy. I love it for you. I love it. Jen says she loves WISIT. Jen, we do love WISIT. We want everybody to participate. Vilma, her thought partner is Lacey Wooten. I love it. Carrie says WISIT. Hanafia Balbuena, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, says University of Maryland. Museums, any specific museums that we can name? Your fellow teachers in your school district? I love it. Twitter, oh, I love that. I love that. Your Kennedy English colleagues, hey, I love it. Thank you so much, friends, for sharing. This is awesome. PBS, yes, absolutely. Your special ed team, National Museum of African American History. Oh, I love it. State parks, oh, love it. NGA, we love the National Gallery of Art. Yes, we do. Shout out to Julie and friends. The public libraries, absolutely. Thank you so much, friends. So I really wanted us to sort of anchor this moment and just give some thanks to these professional learning communities that really help us grow. This thinking and learning toward understanding does not happen only independently. Learning and thinking is a team sport. So thank you so much to all of those thought partners. So the following explorations of moving and migrating were born from reimagining migration ideas and the collaborative thinking of one of the most heart-centered and pedagogically sound professional learning communities I've ever experienced. May I offer my gratitude to my reimagining migration thought partners. Thanks, Adam. And to my professional collaborative friends, my DCPZ thought partners, thank you, Jim Rees, thank you, Carrie Redding. Um, and also, thank you to all those in my sphere who are practicing with museum artifacts and leaning into Project Zero ideas. Thanks so much, friends. We're letting these PZ ideas become wings to help our students' dispositional thinking take flight. Let's get into it. So, we're looking at our learning arc for today. For the next few minutes, please join me and my students on our exploration of moving and migrating. So, during semester 2, learners explored concepts of home, along with moving and migrating, for 3 common tasks. First, for the analysis task, students crafted literary analysis essays exploring how authors use tone and mood to convey messages about migrating and moving. Next, for the informative or the explanatory task, students crafted moving and migrating narratives based on their research of 2 major migrations in American history: westward expansion and the Great Migration. And lastly, for the narrative task, and my favorite, students crafted Where I'm From poems and collages based on their personal moving and migrating stories. Next slide. So, en route to crafting our literary analysis essays, we started our exploration by close looking at Richard Moss's incoming exhibition. And we continued by close reading Warsan Shire's poem, Home. We anchored our exploration in the reimagining migration thinking routine, See, Feel, Reveal, Wonder, to nurture close observation, curiosity, and self-awareness. Let's take a look. Next slide. Check out this student's close-looking observations. Let's focus on what Mossie's images revealed to her. I'll give you a moment just to kind of take a look at what you're observing here. In our I see column, they identify that there's lots of people. They noticed it was in black and white and gray. There were shacks and overloaded vehicles. In the I feel column, the student reported feeling sad, worried, hopeful, inspired. And what did this reveal? I'm not alone. I just got here from Ghana. Having to leave because of political and tribal conflict breaks my heart. This exhibition shows me I'm not alone in reasons I had to leave or in my feelings. And this wondering, I wonder why Mossie decided to shine a light on people like me. He's not having my experience since he's a white man. I think he's from England. What did he hope to achieve? Just wonderful observations from this learner, yeah? I'm not alone. I just got here from Ghana and then leaving based on political and tribal conflicts that broke this particular student's heart. And ultimately winding up with the feeling that they are not alone. Next slide. Next, we practiced close looking, reading Home by Warsan Shire. I'm going to share just one stanza from this poem. There's an excerpt. No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. You only run for the border when you see the whole city running as well. Your neighbors running faster than you, breath bloody in their throats. The boy you went to school with, who kissed you dizzy behind the old tin factory, is holding a gun bigger than his body. Next slide. Next, we practiced close reading for elements of mood and tone in Warsan Shire's poem. So you notice we analyzed the mood and the tone. Students had very clear directions to identify examples for style elements. We looked at diction, specifically connotation. We looked at imagery, figurative language, and syntax. Let's give you a moment to take a look at the students' observations. We use this routine for close reading because it helps learners reduce their cognitive load. So they may dive deeper into their observations. So they're not so worried about holding it all, in the fore of their mind. Notice for diction, they mentioned the tender, the positive, tender, softer. Negative, they noticed some negative diction, dirty, savage, even slurs, the N word, crawl and strange. They identified imagery. There was tactile imagery because maybe a blow, meaning a hit, is softer than a limb torn off. Oof, powerful. Figurative language, metaphor. Home is the mouth of a shark. Home is a barrel of a gun. And for syntax, they noticed that there was short one-word sentences, short stanza length, drown, save, be hunger, beg, forget. Excellent observations from the student. I'm sure you'll agree. Next slide. Notice how this student uses her notes from close reading to now inform her analysis. This is an excerpt from a student's literary analysis essay draft. So this is not the final, this is a draft. The prompt that they were given was, how does the author use tone and mood to convey a message about migrating and moving? And this was the student's first draft. I'll give you a moment just to take a look. Let's focus on the last 3 lines of her body paragraph 1. First, the uncensored use of diction and tone can be traced back to the message of immigrants leaving their home in desperation. It is the fact that immigrants are willing to withstand racism because it's easier to tolerate than a, quote, limb blown off and the other abuses in their home countries. Lastly, it highlights how truly bad situations in their country have to be to drive them out, when one would prefer verbal abuse and harm over more physical abuse. Powerful observations from this student, I'm sure you'll agree. Next slide. Now, en route to crafting our narratives based on research, we practiced close looking and close reading. We looked at Thomas Moran's Green Cliffs, Wyoming painting from 1881. We read primary documents from westward expansion, such as letters from settlers and speeches from indigenous people. We read primary documents from the Great Migration, specifically letters from African Americans considering migrating and those who actually migrated. So we're looking at Jacob Lawrence's The Great Migration series as a visual text and the primary documents from the Great Migration as our written text. Next slide. So we anchored this exploration in the thinking routine see, think, me, we to help students connect to the bigger picture represented by the series panels. Just take a look at the image, just let your eyes pass from right to left and up and down. One student selected panel 10 for close looking, and you've had a moment to kind of examine it. What do you notice and wonder about this image? And if you could just pop that in the chat. What do you notice and wonder about this image? Sadness. The subjects seem hunched in their posture. Excellent observations. There's a wondering, you wonder if they're related. You're wondering if they're saying grace before eating. The open space feels isolated. Oh, excellent observations, friends. Anything else we might notice and wonder? The table is large, but the food looks really small. Yeah, right? Very intentional on the artist's part. Excellent observations, friends. Thanks so much. Next slide, please. So when we see the students' notes, look at just the richness of observation that this particular student came up with. Yeah. I'll give you a moment just to take a look. Now let's focus on the last column. Notice the bigger global issues that this particular student identifies. He identifies hunger, poverty, the labor in this world to go through, the wait, and the journey to the end. Excellent observations. Yeah. Next slide. Next, students interrogated letters of Negro migrants from 1916 to 1918, as compiled by Emmett J. Scott in the Journal of Negro History 4, number 3, July 1919. And we use the thinking routine seek to see to nurture a disposition toward destigmatization and recognition of dignity. Check out this student's close reading observations. When we look at their multiple feelings, what might this person's various feelings be? They said anxious, desperate, hopeful, pleased. Strengths to be able to support herself and possibly her family, to receive a good education, speaking up for all women and the rights they deserve. Next slide. Now let's focus our attention on her connections. I and this kind of tickled me a little bit because we're talking about a teenager. I, as a woman, am always speaking up for myself and fighting for what I want and believe in, never striving for anything less. Yes, right? I love the words that this student identified to honor their humanity: brave, courageous, strong willed, understanding, intelligent, and responsible. Next slide. Notice how her thinking expands where she explains. At first, I thought this was a poorly written letter that didn't have much meaning. I also thought that this letter was written by a man when I first started reading it. However, as I read the letter, I realized that it's a woman writing it, and I felt honored and happy. This woman who wrote this clearly put her heart and soul into this letter, and I developed a great appreciation and awe for this woman and her experiences. Next slide. So, en route next to crafting our Where I'm From poems and collages based on personal, moving, and migrating stories, we practice close looking using Romare Bearden's Tomorrow I'll Be Far Away as a visual text, and Where I'm From project notes using interviews. And we practiced. Next slide. So we explored the title with some close reading and the collage with some close looking. Let's take a moment to to closely look at Bearden's collage using see, think, me, we. What do you see when you look closely at the work? If you would just type that in the chat, tell us some things you see. And you're letting your eyes pass from right to left, down. And you're typing in the chat. What do you see when you look closely at the work? Many muted colors. I'm sure you're noticing the color palette, or you see a person sitting. Hmm. Any other observations? Anything else that we see? Now let's move into what we think. What are some thoughts that we have about this work? What are some thoughts that we have about Romare Bearden's work? People identifying a broken community, multiple people, dappled sunlight, shadows, man sitting beside what you think may be another person, figures, trees, fences. Now, what are some thoughts that you have about what you see? Excellent observations, by the way, friends. Thank you so much for sharing. Any thoughts that we have? It looks like two people, one man sitting outside and someone else in a window of a building. The second person's face is hard to see. The design may be a little bit patchy. Okay. The man appears to be the prominent image. Thank you so much, friends, for sharing your thoughts. Layers and levels of trauma, disconnections, and object holding water. Okay. More observations. Excellent. So then we ask students to make connections between themselves and the work. And how might the work be connected to bigger stories and the world and our place in it? So Bearden's collage evokes feelings of home and the places he came from, which led into conversations about where we were from. Next, we interviewed family members and tapped into our personal memories of the places we're from. And finally, we began the writing process from our very own I Am From poems and collages. And friends, now it's your turn. So let's get into it. Let's have fun. Grab a piece of paper or a journal, or you can even type it in your phone if you like. Let's create a few lines of our very own I Am From poem, shall we? All right, step one. Let's start by thinking about a place you're from that you can recall with joy. Notice I said with joy. A place you're from that you can recall with joy. Try to see this place clearly from your mind's eye. Think of the feeling, the textures related to the place, sensing the emotions attached to the place, smelling the scents associated with this place, tasting the flavors from this place, hearing the sounds from this place. So don't write yet. Just take a moment and think. Just think of these feelings and sensations and smells and tastes and sounds. And when you're ready, no rush, when you're ready, let's look at step two. So you're going to add these sense memories to complete each line. So you kind of have like sentence starters, if you will. I am from, and you're going to give us the feeling of the textures. Next line, I am from, and this time you'll give us the sensation of the emotions. Next, I am from, and you'll give us the smelling of the scents. Your next line, I am from, and give us the tasting of the flavors. And lastly, I am from, and give us the hearing of the sounds, and use vivid imagery to show the reader the joy of where you're from rather than just telling them about it. So we want the joy, we want that to leap off of the page. Don't give us things that we can't see, taste, touch, feel, hear, smell. And obviously, with younger learners, this may take more time, right? You are generally adult learners and you're whipping it out right now, but with our younger learners, we would give them a little more time and processing in this. Now, I'd like to share, next slide, I'd like to share a student's poem. And again, this was just her draft. This was not her final. I am from metallic gray safety pins, from sable scarf caps, and picturesque hijabs. I am from the serene and cloudless countryside, the smell of fresh mahogany strawberries pervading the air in my backyard. I am from the jade green mint flourishing on my porch, from the weeping willow softly releasing wisps of tears swaying back and forth in the flavor of the wind. I from Ramadan and low metabolism, from mama and papa. I am from miscommunication and anger issues, and from using blackmail to make one surrender. I am from pray on time and eat dinner before dessert and always be grateful. I'm from Eid, from the quiet country of Kuwait and the busy streets of Pakistan. I am from piquant chicken biryani and nummy nahari, its attractive divinity capturing me. And eighth grade, when my picturesque hijab laid its eyes on me for the first time, when life was easier and growth was just beginning. I am from Sunday, from the caramel colored picnic basket, quietly resting on the sandy shores where the waves crash like thunder and release like rain. I am from a crimson colored USB, mysteriously posing at the bottom of my sepia pencil holder, keeping safe all of my treasures and memories, capturing my first steps, first words, and marking the start of survival. Next slide. Thank you, friends. I hope that you have enjoyed our process. I hope that you have found it useful and that you may use it in your learning communities for explorations into moving and migrating. Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks for joining us.